Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's Stephanie with Lumeria's Star. Today we're going to take a look at the decks I worked with for April for my Lumeria's Star Tarot Edit Challenge, which is basically anyone can join in. It's just picking which decks you're going to use for the month and kind of showcasing it, and we get to see what everyone's working with. That's really all it is. And then I started this kind of video series for the end of the month to talk about what I worked with, what I loved, what maybe I wasn't drawn to, and yeah, that's basically what this video is. So let's just kind of dive right in. So one of the decks I worked with for the month of April is my Antique Anatomy Tarot. This is the Ephemera edition, and this is the indie version. And this was also my deep dive deck for the month of April. So I love this deck. I've always loved this deck since I got it. It's probably in my top 10 decks ever. So it wasn't a surprise that when I worked with it this month, I still adored it. For the deep dive portion of it, I did read through the guidebook of the mass market edition, because as you know, or maybe you don't know, the indie version didn't have a guidebook, but the mass market does, and I do have the mass market as well. So I did take the mass market edition along with its book to Mexico when I traveled there earlier on vacation, and it was actually really nice to read through the book, like just relaxed, like so leisurely. And it was really nice to see Claire Goodchild's, kind of like interpretations of the cards and what she saw in them and like why she created them. So that was really nice. To me, the Antique Anatomy is just like a really great year-round deck to use. I particularly like using it in the springtime because it's got all these really beautiful florals and botanicals, and then it's obviously got that like touch, well, not a touch of the macabre. It's macabre, it's dark, it's spooky with all of the skulls and the knives and the old apothecary bottles. So this is just totally my aesthetic, which is why I love Claire Goodchild's art so much. It's just like beautiful and dark. It's got both, and I love things that have both. So this deck was a win, and I feel like it's always a win for me. So yeah, this is the Antique Anatomy Tarot. This is the indie version, and I just love this deck so much. This deck will most likely never go anywhere. Okay, so along with my Antique Anatomy Tarot is a deck I use, which I have in this pouch. And this is the Oracle of Oddities, my mega deck. So this is basically her Oracle of Oddities, but it's all three, editions that I've combined into one mega deck. So this is such an intuitive oracle. It just has, really great expansive keywords, very expansive. It's got, the Claire Goodchild style artwork that we've come to just like know and love. The beautiful and the dark. We're full of botanicals and earth elements. So gorgeous. This was actually one of the first oracle decks. I think I had one edition first for a while that I ever had. I got it when it very first came out. I was just like, oh my gosh, this artwork is incredible. And it taught me how to read intuitively, like right off the jump. Like her decks, the indie versions don't have guidebooks. So you just kind of have to learn how to dig deep into the imagery and dig deep into your own intuition and just see what comes out. So I really like equate a lot of her decks to helping me dive right into intuitive reading right away. Like, I wasn't really relying on guidebooks early on, and that's just me. It's totally fine if you do read guidebooks. Like, I always read the guidebooks, but her decks were some of the first I ever had, so I just quickly learned just how to read the cards just with the cards, and I love her decks for that. So this mega deck, the Oracle of Oddities mega deck, is just such a fun one whenever I take it out. Obviously, it pairs really well with Antique Anatomy, along with a lot of other decks. So this is always such a joy. As I said, joy. Got the joy card. I love when that happens. This is always such a joy to play with. So this is my Oracle of Oddities mega deck. It's very treasured in my collection, and so happy to bring that out for the month of April. All right, let's see what else I want to take a look at. The next deck that I used for the month of April is my Tarot de Carlotides. This is another like hugely favorite deck of mine. There's so many things I love about this. You've probably heard me talk about it in other videos. These are probably some of my favorite card backs ever. I just adore this artwork. If I could find a pattern for this, like for a wallpaper or a blouse or, oh my gosh, anything like a fabric, like I would love it. Anyway, there's so many things I love about Tarot de Carlotides, the size being one of them. It's that really beautiful kind of like small Fournier size. This artwork also kind of scratches the same itch as the Antique Anatomy and Oracle of Oddities, in that it's got this combination of dark and beautiful, in my opinion. It does have this like touch of whimsy to it. The artwork is a little bit like all over the place. It kind of takes nods from different things, which you would think it wouldn't feel like, it wouldn't have a sense of continuity, but it does. Yeah, this deck just feels very feminine, touch of darkness, whimsical. The artwork is stunning. There's pagan references, there's fairy tale references, there's art references, there's music references. Like I love, let's see if I can find it. The magician is David Bowie. I love when David Bowie makes an appearance in my tarot decks because I feel like he's in so many. There it is. Love that. This deck just feels very springy to me, so I love taking this out specifically in the springtime, but I also use this pretty year-round. I like the little, like, if you can see, like the little skull faces here. So it has like little touches of darkness. It's really pretty. Three of Swords. A lot of florals. It's awesome. I love this deck so much. I actually didn't like read with this a lot this month, which is like totally fine. Sometimes that happens, but this is still a favorite. Yeah, Tarot de Carlotides. This is by, what's her name? Carlotta DeSantos, I want to say her name is. Of course, it doesn't say that on the box. But yeah, love this so much. All right, so another deck that I absolutely love working in the spring is the Pastel Rider-Waite Tarot. So I wish I could remember the name of the creator. This is a deck I literally just found on Make Playing Cards, and it's simply just the Rider-Waite Smith deck reimagined in these gorgeous pastel colors. And I love, like, color is everything to me. So like the original Rider-Waite Smiths, whether it's just like the classic or like the Centennial, the colors are just so blah to me that I don't read with them. I don't like them. But for me, you take the Rider-Waite Smith and you like recolorize them. And if they're colors that speak to me, I love the RWS. And this is an example of that. I love working with this in the springtime. I think obviously it's the pastel colors. Pastel colors always just remind me of spring. They remind me of like childhood and like Easter egg colors. And even though I don't really, you know, celebrate Easter as a holiday, it's more of like a Stara. So yeah, it literally reminds me of an Easter egg. So I think that's why I love pulling this out in the springtime. It mimics, you know, spring flower colors. There's a lightness to it. These colors are just everything. So yeah, this is like what I would consider my like RWS, my spring RWS. I wonder if I have an RWS for every season. I probably do. That might be a fun video to make. Let me know down in the comments if you would like to see, or you'd be curious to see, like an RWS for each season. I bet I do. I bet I do have that. That would be really interesting. I'm gonna have to write that down because I get ideas and then I forget. So yeah, this is my beautiful pastel Rider-Waite that I found on Make Playing Cards. So sorry, I don't remember the creator's name. It came just in this like plain white tuck box, and I keep telling myself I need to find a cute bag for it because it's just in this sad white box and it deserves a cute bag. But yeah, here we go. Okay, let's see what else I worked with this month. The Kai Tarot Love deck. This deck, everything about this deck is just so special and gorgeous. The deck feels so like homemade, like it was made for you. And like I even got like, I saved this little heart in here from the creator. You are loved, Stephanie. Love, Kai. It's so sweet, everything about this deck. So these are basically like abstract paintings. And I think it's largely the color palette makes me feel like it's very springy. The abstract nature of it also feels very like expansive, which makes me feel like it's spring too, right? We're kind of like growing, we're expanding. Some of the images are a little like have a little bit of darkness, which I feel like it mimics like coming out of winter. So whenever I use this deck, it just feels very springy. So this is definitely a go-to spring deck for me. And I think, I could be wrong, but I think there's a heart in every card. I know there's a heart in a lot of cards, but I'm not sure if they're in every card. Maybe they're not in every card, but they're in a lot of the cards, which Kai Tarot love. So like love has been infused into this deck. It's really gorgeous. I noticed with this deck particularly, because I find the images so expansive, I don't like to pull a lot of them at once. Like I would maybe pull 2 at the most, but I actually really prefer just 1 and pairing that maybe with like an oracle card or 2. I love the image to just be, and I just kind of want to sink myself into that one image. So this is a slower deck in my opinion. It kind of takes its time. It could feel a bit meditative. Like I think this would be a great deck to use if you have like a meditation practice. That could be really fun. As well as a journaling practice, just like pulling 1 card and seeing what comes up for that. And I will say too, let me show you, like this little guidebook is like itty bitty, but it has like these just really beautiful, like simple messages. Like, okay, so we have the Empress here. Sacred woman, I create all that is love. Nature speaks through me. I embody the divine feminine. It's just like very simple, almost like affirmations or like poetry. And yeah, everything about this deck feels really, really special. So this is the Kai Tarot Love. This was a win for the month of April, and this is by Kai Grattan, or Grattan. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. Beautiful deck, highly suggest. All right, so another deck I used quite a bit for the month of April. This is my Yunasa Yao Tarot. I think this is, it's not a first edition. like maybe like second or third. I bought this secondhand from someone a few years ago, and it's gorgeous. Like I think Yunasa Yao's art is just really special. There's something about it that really speaks to me, and I just love how she always comes out with like new editions of this deck, and it's relatively the same artwork, but it's recolorized. And for me personally, like color can change everything. Color can change the meanings. So I have this deck, which I think this is the 3rd edition. I think. If anyone knows, let me like leave it down in the comments. I'm not sure. I definitely know it's not a 1st edition, because the 1st edition has like full borders on it. So maybe it's like second, 3rd, or 4th. I know that's a wide range. I also have the 5th edition. So maybe this is the 4th edition. But the 5th edition is like more of like the square size, and it's like the green and yellow color palette, where this one's more purples and greens. I also really love the shape of these cards too. I feel like they're so unique. Like you don't see a lot of other decks like with this size, which makes it a little bit difficult to shuffle. But once you kind of get over that, I just shuffle it. I learned to shuffle it a little bit more delicately. Like I'm not like riffle shuffling this or anything. But anyway, this deck in particular feels so springy to me. It's got so many flowers and just blooming botanicals. But it is a little bit dark too. I feel like there's a theme here. Like I just love decks that have both like really beautiful feminine qualities, like florals and like a lightness to it, but then also there's a darker quality to it. And those two together really kind of encompass, I think, my personal aesthetic. Not all of my decks have that, but I've noticed that if a deck has that, I'm most likely going to love it. And I notice that's an aesthetic in my life personally that I'm drawn to. And I think that's always cool when you can kind of like just figure out like and put words to like things you love. Like how often do we actually sit there and be like, oh, this is my aesthetic and this is what I love and this is what I'm drawn to and this is why. I think tarot helps me do that because there is so much incredible artwork. And I just allow myself to be drawn to the things I'm drawn to. And then I can sit there and be like, why? Why am I drawn to this? And I think this is why I'm drawn to this deck. It's beautiful and it's got a little bit of darkness to it. It's got a moodiness to it. So beautiful, so springy. Love it so much. And this deck here has such a different energy, in my opinion, to the 5th edition that I have, which is that like greener color. I used that in March's tarot edit, so it was fun to be able to use them both. So love that. Another deck I use, which I have in this cute little cat pouch, is my Considerate Cat tarot. So this, it's interesting. I bought this years ago, maybe 3-4 years ago, maybe. I bought this in a damaged deck sale, so it didn't come with a box. It was just the cards. I'm not even really a cat person. I'm more of a dog person. I like cats. I had cats growing up. I'm kind of allergic to them a little bit. I think they're cute. But what really drew me to this deck was the beautiful illustrations. They're just so sweet. Who's the creator of this? I want to say Madeline. It doesn't say her last name. It just says Madeline and the Cats. Okay. This artwork is just so sweet. It's gentle. The color palette feels very springy to me. All the beautiful pastels. There is a little bit of like darker cards, which again is also springy. Like even today, we're like in the last week of April and it's dark and it's cold out. So I feel like just this color palette just is so springy. Look how sweet. This is Seven of Pentacles. We got the little paws. This deck is so cute, and I actually haven't used it in a few years, so it was nice to like break this out this year, and it paired really nicely with one of the Oracle decks that I'm going to show next. I really love this Death card too, and this Moon card actually. This is just, and this Magician card with all these pretty butterflies. It's just a sweet, sweet deck. And it was just a joy to like kind of reconnect with, and I'm so happy I kind of like rediscovered it, which has been another awesome thing in my no buy year. So for those of you who don't know, I'm doing a full no buy year, which you'd think it'd be easy because I do have so many decks in my collection, and I do like that I'm not lying about that. But it is fun to find new decks and new artwork and to support new creators that you find. But I just can't do it this year. I want to be mindful and intentional where my money goes. I want to be mindful and intentional of enjoying the things I have instead of like always seeking the next thing. And it's totally fine if you do that. I have done that before, but I'm just trying to like rein in my spending and rein in the reasons that I do the things that I do. So this year in general is a lot for me about like paring things back, just understanding like why I do the things that I do. So this whole year, my goal is to not buy any tarot decks, which I'm still been really good at, and it's April, which might not seem like a big deal, but it's good because there's been so many decks where I'm like, oh my gosh, I need that, but I have to wait till next year. But at the same time, it's been great because then I get to dig through my collection and I'm like, oh wow, I haven't used Considerate Cats in a while, and it feels new and it feels fresh. So yeah, this was really awesome to reconnect with. That's my Considerate Cat Tarot. Okay, so the Oracle deck that it paired really nicely with was the Hedge Botanical Oracle. So this deck I actually got in a trade, and it was just kind of like sitting on my shelf, and I hadn't used it at all. I just kind of flipped through it. But this deck is so springy to me. So I was like, well, this is the month to use it. So these backs, beautiful, very springy. So this is the deck that probably a lot of you are familiar with in the tarot community. The artwork is Ciolo Thompson, which is just this beautiful, really simplistic, delicate artwork. And it's got keywords of like what the kind of like botanical element is, and then like a keyword, like an oracle keyword. I love the like open, clean white backs, which feels springy and light, and it also lends itself to like pair really nicely with decks. So as I said, this paired really nicely with the Considerate Cats. This paired really nicely with, what else was I using this month? Actually, it paired well with another Oracle deck too, which I'll show. And this was just a real joy. It's so versatile, and I can see using this deck, I mean, pretty much all year. It's a really versatile Oracle deck, but for me, the energy screams spring, so it just felt like a really nice time to use that. I do have a couple other like botanical-based Oracle decks that I can use for other seasons. So I think this one just feels like a spring deck. So yeah, this was beautiful. And then another thing I liked as I was reading through the guidebook was, let's see here if I can find an example. I love how with each card, it talks about the actual botanical, so you get to learn about it. And then it gives a paragraph about the oracle properties, which is like for divination purposes. And then I believe with every card, it kind of gives a related tarot card. So Samphire, keyword adventure, it talks about how this is very similar to like Two of Wands energy. And like, I think that's really cool. And I believe it has that for every card. At least I remember that having it for like every card I pulled. Yeah, so like Hollyhock and Abundance. It talks about the similarities to the Empress and Queen of Pentacles. So I think that's just such a cool way to like marry like the language of like botanicals and flowers with tarot if you already know the tarot. So this was just such an awesome deck. I'm so glad I got this in a trade. And yeah, I'm excited to continue getting to know it. And I think this would also be a really good deck for journaling too, because there's so much information in the guidebook. I could see myself just pulling like one card and like using that as like a jumping off point for a journal entry. Okay, so the last deck I worked with in April was the Seasons of the Witch Beltane, because we are coming up to Beltane in a few days from the day I'm filming this. Like May 1st is coming up in 2 days, I think. So I like to use this as like to kind of anchor into the energy leading up to, you know, the start of that Sabbath or that season. I think it's no surprise that I am a huge fan of this deck series. I'm so excited for the next one to come out. I believe the next one is Mabon. So that should probably be coming out probably like this summer. So we have it, hopefully we have it by Mabon in September. So these are the beautiful backs. I love this golden color with the pretty like bumblebees. This artwork is stunning. I love the artwork of Giada Rose. My kind of like witchy practice, divination practice, whatever you want to call it, I guess my witchy practice is very seasonal based. Like if I had to describe it in one word, my work is seasonal. So that's why the Seasons of the Witch, the whole deck series, if they complete it, please complete it. We like completed things. I like completed things. I love this because it helps me tap into seasonal energy. Obviously this is so springy, creation, morning dew, you know, like wild energy, fae energy, embodiment. It's just, it's such a gorgeous deck to help you tap into seasonal energy. The guidebook is really great too. Really great for journal prompts. I believe last year when I got this deck, because I think it did just come out last year, I journaled through the whole deck, which was so much fun. I didn't do that this year. I just didn't feel called to, but I certainly still could. Like I'll still work with this deck in May for that Beltane energy. But it's absolutely gorgeous. This embodies spring, creation, very sacral chakra, very Empress, sensual and sexual energy. I just love that so much. I do like how we have some masculine energy cards as well. I think that's really important to have balance. We have a sex magic card, like how good. This honey card is freaking gorgeous. Love it. So yeah, this has been a win always. I'm so excited for the next decks to come out. And I'll still be using this deck in May. So yeah, basically all the decks I worked with in April were wins in my book. So we've got our Seasons of the Witch, Beltane, Yunasa, Kai Tarot Love, Hedge Witch Botanical. Let's move some of these out of the way. My sad pastel Rider-Waite that needs a bag. So yeah, these were some of the decks I worked with for my April Lemuria Star Tarot edit. I'd love to know what your thoughts are on some of these decks. What did you work with for April? And yeah, let me know all the things in the comments below. If you like this video, please give it a like, and if you're new here, please subscribe. It's free and it definitely helps small channels like me. So I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care, everyone. Bye.